You feel it when you're trying to fall asleep. This weird internal vibration that's buzzing through your entire body. Or maybe for you, it's a tremor that you can feel, but nobody else can see it. And it might feel like a cell phone that's vibrating deep inside your body, or this, low level of electricity that just won't switch off. And maybe you've been to the doctors, maybe several doctors, and you've ran all the tests, the blood work, the MRIs, the neurological exams, and they tell you that everything looks fine, but you know what you're feeling is real. And it's confusing and scary, and it makes you feel totally alone. So if this sounds familiar, I want you to take a deep breath, because you're not going crazy, and you definitely are not alone. So really, the most overlooked cause or explanation for this internal buzzing is your body's own defense system being stuck in fight or flight. So in this video, we're going to explore exactly what's behind those strange sensations and give you the answers that you've been looking for. So first off, I just really want to validate what you're going through, because I went through this and I know exactly what it's like. It is unbelievable, because this internal buzzing and vibrating, it's really one of the most misunderstood symptoms out there, because this isn't, the visible external shaking that you might see in someone's hands. This is the internal sensations, and it's constant, 24/7 buzz, like being plugged into an electrical socket 24/7. And so others, it can come and go, and a lot of times it's just triggered by stress, fatigue, and sometimes for no clear reason at all. And you might feel it in your arms and your legs, all throughout your body. And it's this feeling of wired but tired, but physically you feel exhausted, but you just can't rest. So one of the hardest parts is that it's invisible. Maybe you look fine, and when you try to explain the internal tremor to a friend or a family member or even a doctor, you might get this blank stare, because they can't see it and they can't get it. So this can make you feel profoundly isolated and even start to question your own sanity. So if you're one of the countless people who's done everything you've been told, and you've been told that all your tests are good and they're clear, and you're still left with this persistent internal buzzing, then this video is for you. Because what's happening in your body isn't necessarily a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that your nervous system is just working way too hard. So why are these feelings so upsetting? Because unexplained physical symptoms, they're terrifying, because when your body does something strange like an internal buzz or vibration and no one can tell you why, your mind naturally is going to leap to the worst case scenario. And you spend hours online falling down the rabbit holes of these scary diagnoses, and every new buzz and vibration sends a flash of wave and panic all through your body. Then this is really what causes the perfect breeding for health anxiety. And I know what it's like. I went through it. So this fear, it's just really gasoline on, that nasty negative feedback loop. So first you might notice the internal tremor. Maybe it's the buzz in your chest or in your head. And then your mind will just instantly flag this sensation as a threat. And then you start thinking, well, what if this is serious? What if it's Parkinson's? What if it's going to get worse? And then you start spiraling into these negative thinking patterns. And this scary thought just triggers your body's alarm system, the fight or flight response. And your brain tells your adrenaline glands to pump out the stress hormones, mainly adrenaline and cortisol. And here's the kicker. Those stress hormones, they stimulate the nervous system. They tense up your muscles and ramp up the electrical activity even more to get your body ready for danger. So the very act of fearing the vibration makes the vibration stronger. So the buzz gets buzzier, the hum gets louder, and the internal shaking just feels, more intense. And this, of course, confirms the original fear that something is terribly wrong. And now you're trapped because the symptom causes fear, and the fear cranks up the symptoms, and round you go with each cycle, just, digging deeper into a state of a chronic stress response. So breaking this cycle is the secret to getting relief. So, what if that tremor isn't a sign of disease, but a sign of a process? So this totally understandable biological process where your body's alarm system has just become way too sensitive. And for many people in this situation, the answer lies in understanding what's known as the high alert nervous system, like a hypersensitive nervous system. And some people call it central sensitization, or just your body being stuck in fight or flight. So you can think of your body as a protective system, like a car alarm, and its job is to spot threats and go off. But the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight branch, when a real burglar shows up, you want that alarm to be loud and impossible to ignore. That system is working perfectly. But what if the alarm gets glitchy and overly sensitive? Now a gust of wind or a cat brushing against the tire sets off the full siren. And the lights are just flashing and the alarm is blaring, but there's no actual danger. And this alarm itself has now become the problem. So this is, really a great way to understand this. You might be, is what's happening in your body is that with your nervous system, which, talks in electrical impulses, has its voltage turned way up. So think of it as a dial from 1 to 10. Well, after a period of chronic stress and anxiety or major illness, your nervous system's baseline can get stuck on high alert. Think of it being stuck in like a 8 or a 9. And it's in this constant state of hyper arousal. And, what that feels like is your body's electrical, like electricity gets dialed up and cranked up to, like a 9 or a 10. And it feels like buzzing. It feels like humming. It feels like internal vibrations and tremors. And the shaking you feel can be a physical proof of a hypersensitive nervous system that is firing off these threat signals when there is no threat. And it's really just trapped energy buzzing through your body from nowhere to go. So from this perspective, your body isn't broken, but the alarm system has just become way too sensitive. And here's the best part is that a nervous system that's become hypersensitive can be retrained to be calm again. So getting this is the solution, and we can shift from being scared to feeling empowered. So if this message speaks to you and you're looking for extra support, I'd love to invite you to check out our Recovery System program. It's a clear, step-by-step system that walks you through exactly what to focus on each and every single day so you know exactly what to do. And this way you can take confidently and manageable and intentional steps towards breaking free from these chronic symptoms, especially things like internal buzzing and vibrations and things like that. And in our program, we're going to help you step by step to overcome old negative thinking patterns that many people don't even realize that those are keeping you stuck. So if you value your time and you want a healing path that's strategic and effective, and if you want, if you're ready to calm down the stress response and lower your symptoms and start bringing things back into your life, maybe some things that you've been forced to avoid, like exercising again, or going out to eat at your favorite restaurants, exercising without a crash, driving again, or even returning back to work full time, then, I do invite you to book a call. I'm going to put the link in the description, and, we can talk about what's keeping you stuck, and we can create a path forward so that we can help you. Because, right now we try to keep the groups kind of small so that we can give you personalized attention. So yeah, this is for people that want to break free from chronic fatigue, food sensitivities, chemical sensitivities, and a whole lot more. So if you're tired of doing this alone and you are ready to see real lasting change, then I'm going to put the link in the description so you can book a free discovery call. And on that call, we're just going to create this personalized plan to see if the program is a good fit for you. So spots are limited because we intentionally keep the group small to give you personalized attention. So if you're ready to reclaim your life and break free from chronic symptoms, then this program is for you. So yeah, I want to let you know the solution. So yeah, if you're curious how to turn down the dial, the big question is, how do you recalibrate your nervous system? So how do you convince your body to turn that internal dial down? You can't just order it to stop vibrating. You have to show it safety. And you have to do this consciously and deliberately send your hypersensitive nervous system signals of safety all throughout the day to train it properly. So your goal is to activate the other half of your autonomic nervous system, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. This is the rest and digest system. It's the brake pedal of the sympathetic system's gas pedal. So here are 3 ways to start hitting the brakes. First is you can do this with breathing. You can do breath work, and you can't consciously tell your heart to slow down, but you can control your breathing. So specific breathing patterns directly activate the rest and digest system. This is the easiest and most powerful way to make the longer exhale than the inhale. And when you inhale, your heart rate speeds up a little bit, but when you exhale, it slows down. So by deliberately extending your exhale, you're sending a direct biological signal to your brain that says, I am safe. And so if you do the breath work, you're going to see transformation. So I like to tell everybody to, incorporate daily breath work. And it's just so powerful. And eventually it'll help calm down the stress response and decrease the internal buzzing and vibrations and tremors. So second is it's important that you respond well to symptoms so that you can change your relationship with the sensation. So as we talked about, fear is the fuel. And as long as you're terrified of the tremor, you're going to feed it adrenaline. So the way out is to change your relationship with it and stop being, panicky about it, but instead to become curious. And this is a mindfulness technique. Instead of tensing up about, when you feel the vibration, just notice it. And don't try to make it stop, just observe it. Where is it? Is it fast or is it slow? And so by simply observing the sensation without judgment, you're really literally retraining the brain that it learns that this internal tremor and vibration is not a threat. And when the fear fades, the adrenaline fades. And when the adrenaline fades, guess what? The symptoms lose its fuel. So this does take practice, but it is the most direct way to break that cycle. And another strategy is deliberate sensory soothing. So a high alert nervous system is over processing everything, sights, sounds, lights, you name it. And you need to consciously reduce threatening input and increase soothing input. So this is super practical. Just reduce stimulants like caffeine, which add more voltage on your system. Prioritize sleep, because lack of sleep can be a major stressor to the body. And actively bring in signals of safety. So this could be like a weighted blanket, listening to calm music, doing some gentle stretching, taking a walk out in nature. And if you send these signals of safety repeatedly, it's going to calm down the stress response. It's just so powerful. It's just the simple things that can help calm the stress response down. These are all just ways of showing your hypersensitive nervous system that it can just calm down and reduce the fear of those internal tremors. And the key is to find what feels like a signal of safety, and then that you do it consistently. So those internal tremors and that buzzing and that constant feeling of just being on edge, it is not necessarily a sign that you're broken or that you even have any kind of mysterious disease. For many, it's just a sign that your body is working a little too well, and that your nervous system has become hypersensitive, and its alarm is just way too sensitive. It's a sign of dysregulation and not permanent damage. So it is something that you can retrain. For many people, healing is not about finding a magic pill to stop the shaking. It's about understanding that these vibrations are just a sign of a nervous system that's been stuck in fight or flight, and you can retrain that system. So let me know in the comments how long you've been dealing with the vibration, and if it comes and goes or if it's constant. I'd love to know, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.